Hello, everybody. This is Ty Swartz with Snap Lens Education, and I am here talking a little bit today about travel photography and what kind of things that you think about when you're getting ready to go on a travel. So I travel a lot, and I'm constantly, before I even pack my bags and put all my clothes and everything in there, I will go through my camera bag and I will say, okay, so what am I going to be doing on this trip? Who am I going to be photographing? How am I going to photograph them? And then I realize I have so much equipment. I don't want to say I am a equipment hog, but I have more equipment, and then I'm a hoarder. I don't get rid of stuff because, oh, I never know when I'm going to use it. And so it's very rare that I don't keep everything. Well, I'll put them in boxes. I'll put it on shelves. If you've ever watched our YouTube video and some of the videos I've done, you see the shelves behind me. Some of those cameras are 10, 15 years old. I found a camera in a box that I used in 1999. It was a film camera. It was an old Nikon F5. Oh my gosh. It just brought back so many memories, and I can't even remember uh, the days of film. Well, I can remember the days of film, but I realize how much I did not like processing film. I didn't like waiting for film, but at the same time, it I dragged my feet going into digital photography because back in 2000, 2001, I had gone on a couple of missions and I used a digital camera, and I wasn't able to uh, get the same color or the same results because digital cameras just weren't ready yet. But as they started to come in, I think 2004, 2005, I said, you know what? I'm going to break down. I bought a Nikon D100. 12 months later, I bought a D200. 12 months later, I bought a D300. And then 12 months later, I bought a D300S. And the 300 and 300S definitely workhorses. Nikon, bravo on the great work that they did for those cameras. And I think the D100, 300S that I had, I think it had almost a million actuations before I said, okay, I'm not going to use you anymore. I really, really love that camera. So let's talk about what to take on your trip. So I am a complete nerd, and I take a full frame camera, and I'll take one or two lenses. Now, when I was younger, I could easily slug around 40, 50 pounds on my back all day long, walk around. But I realized this last trip to New York, I'm carrying 45, 50 pounds on my back, and I am dying. I want to sit down. I want to take a nap. I realized that I over-equip myself. Um, and now I'm afraid, this is what I'm afraid of, is under-equipping myself, is because what if I get into a situation where I want to create and I can't because I don't have the equipment? But then I realized that when I go on travel, I have a set purpose, and I don't need a whole bunch of lenses. And that's kind of one of the reasons I started Snap Lens, is I wanted people to realize that you don't have to create uh, images using some of the best equipment, the best lights. It just, you know what, when you go to create images, you're creating images to tell the story that you are experiencing. And that is really interesting in that aspect because when I go now, I said, okay, well, for example, I'm getting ready to go um, to Europe for 15 days in the end of July or June, end of June. And I know I'm going to do portraits. So I did break down and thinking maybe I'll take a flash with me so I can do some Rembrandt style portraits. But then I'm also thinking I need to learn how to go back to being a purist photojournalist. Here's my uh, here's my camera. I'm going to use this camera, this lens, and that's all I'm going to take. Well, it's a scary thought as a photographer to go around and not necessarily have all the tools in your toolbox, but at the same time, I'm a realist and realize that not all the camera gear that you take, you're going to want to use on a regular basis. So I want to definitely think about how much weight I want to carry. So I think for this trip to Europe, I'm going to take well, the hardest thing is to find the right travel lens. A 70 to 200 is, I think, too much lens because if you're trying to get stuff that's a little bit close, then you have issues. You got to back up. And I think this trip, I'm going to use the 24 to 70, and that way I can definitely get a wider angle and a whole bunch of different things. But at the same time, that 70 millimeter lens will allow me to get the compression. Now, it's going to be a little bit heavier than I would like for a camera kit, but I think it's going to offer the best versatility of just taking one lens, one camera, and that's it. And then I am going to look at how that does for that trip because I am going to go to Greece in August, and that's going to be that's going to have some models to it, and we're definitely going to have some lights. But if I'm just going to go on say a family trip to Europe, um, I want to make sure that I'm not carrying tons of equipment. I want to carry something that's versatile. I'm not switching lenses every 5 minutes. And that's important because, as my wife will tell you, I spend way too much time taking pictures and working out all the issues. So um, that's something that I think is really important when you're traveling is you have to take into consideration who you're traveling with. Now, if I was traveling with a group of photographers, definitely I got to have a million lenses and flashes and whiz bangs but the smart thing about traveling with a bunch of photographers is saying, hey, we should all carry the same equipment and you carry this. Kind of like when I was in the military and we had to carry a lot of stuff, we kind of distributed um, the items that we needed and everybody used. So I think that's a pretty interesting concept. But when it comes to just basic photography, I use an iPhone. Sometimes just taking photos with an iPhone is enough, and it's not a lot. You can pop it in your pocket. The cameras are really good. If I know that I'm just going to have something that's going to be on my computer and I'm not really looking to do stock photography, I just want to go and have a good time, I'm going to take my cell phone. And there's times that I won't even take out the camera and take pictures because there's a balance between family time and photography time, and that's something that I think, us photographers have to realize and be mindful of other people when they come and take a look and walk in our world for a day or two. So 14 days in Europe, definitely I'm going to take a large full frame camera, and by taking a full frame camera, I'm going to be able to do portraits with the 70 millimeter. I'm going to be able to do landscaping with that also, but also I'm going to be able to go inside and take portraits and not portraits, but photographs of inside of churches, take building photography, photographs. I love going to farmers markets and photographing different kinds of fruits and things like that. So I think having that kind of lens and camera is very important. I don't carry a flash very often. When I do carry flashes, I think about, hey, um, I want to bring a studio flash because I want to be able to overpower the sun. But a lot of times to save on space, I'll find something white and I'll just push light into it. And I won't worry about a flash. I'll just adjust my camera and I'll make the best guess, and then I'll just push light into it using something white. And it's as simple as a t-shirt. So anyway, so those are my thoughts on travel photography, why I do some of the things that I do, and I think it's really interesting to think about that as we're moving forward with our photography learning and our talks. I definitely want to hear your feedback and your thoughts on what you like to take on a trip with you. And really, it doesn't matter if you use a Nikon, a Sony, a Canon, as long as you are creating images that create memories for you and you have those stories. So again, I am Ty Swartz with SnapLens, and I want to thank you for listening. Again, you can check us out on YouTube, SnapLens, and you can also check out snaplens.blog, which is where all the podcasts are housed. And also, if you definitely are interested in learning more about Photoshop, Lightroom, and other items that we're teaching in a photography course, you can always go to snaplens.com, get more information. But again, leave a comment, talk about something that you'd want to learn about, or just give me suggestions. Maybe I'm just way off base and I need somebody to help calibrate my thought process. Anyway, you have a great day, and I want to thank you for taking the time to listen.